America still prays, but not everywhere in the same way. In some states, faith has become private, quiet, almost hidden behind the noise of modern life. But in other places, religion still rises before the sun, fills the pews on Sunday morning, blesses the family table, shapes small towns, guides public conversations, and leaves its mark on the way people live, vote, mourn, celebrate, and hope. This journey takes us into the top 10 most religious states in the United States, seen through the lens of a Catholic documentary. But here is the surprise. The most religious states in America are not always the most Catholic states. Some are rooted deeply in Protestant tradition. One is shaped by Latter-day Saint culture. Others carry Catholic communities that are smaller, quieter, and often overlooked, yet still alive with sacrifice, sacraments, and devotion. So as we travel across this spiritual map of America, we are not only counting churches or reading statistics, we are asking where faith still has weight, where prayer still has a voice, and where Catholic life continues to burn even when it is not the loudest flame. Stay with us until the end, and if you love Catholic history, Catholic culture, and stories of faith across America, subscribe to the channel. Number 10. Oklahoma. Oklahoma enters this list with a religious culture that is still visible in everyday life. This is Bible Belt territory, where church attendance, family prayer, public references to God, and Sunday worship remain familiar parts of many communities. Pew Research Center places Oklahoma at 38% in the high religiousness category, higher than the national level of 30%. That number points to a state where faith is not only remembered as tradition, but still practiced through belief, prayer, worship, and community life. The strongest Christian identity in Oklahoma is evangelical Protestant. Pew records that 70% of adults in the state identify as Christian, while 47% identify as evangelical Protestant. Catholics make up about 8% of adults, so the Catholic Church is clearly not the largest voice here. But this is exactly where Oklahoma becomes interesting for a Catholic documentary. Catholic life in the state has to remain clear, rooted, and intentional inside a much larger Protestant landscape. The most powerful Catholic story connected to Oklahoma is Blessed Stanley Rother. Born in Oklahoma, he became a priest and later served as a missionary in Guatemala. During a time of violence, he refused to abandon the people entrusted to him and was killed for staying with his community. In 2017, his beatification in Oklahoma City drew more than 20,000 people, making his witness a national Catholic moment, not only a local memory. Number 9. North Carolina. North Carolina is not just another Bible Belt state with old churches and Sunday routines. Its religious story is unfolding in motion. From Charlotte's growing skyline to the Research Triangle, from military families near the coast to mountain communities in the West, Pew-related data places North Carolina at 41% in the highly religious category, while 51% of adults say religion is very important in their lives. This is a state where modern growth has not erased public faith. It has forced faith to move into new neighborhoods, new schools, new suburbs, and new immigrant communities. The Protestant foundation is still strong. Evangelical churches remain highly visible, and Baptist life continues to shape much of the state's religious language. Pew-related data also shows that 54% of adults in North Carolina say they pray daily, 39% attend religious services at least monthly, and 65% say they believe in God or a universal spirit with absolute certainty. Those numbers give North Carolina a different weight from states where religion has become mostly private or symbolic. The Catholic angle here is not about size. Catholics are a minority in North Carolina, but their presence becomes more visible through population movement, Hispanic families, students, parish schools, and urban growth. In many communities, the Catholic parish is not only a place for Sunday Mass, it becomes a meeting point for newcomers, a classroom for the faith, a home for bilingual worship, and a sacramental center inside a state where Protestant Christianity still sets much of the public tone. Number 8. South Carolina. South Carolina carries one of the oldest religious atmospheres in the Deep South. Faith here does not only appear through church signs or Sunday services, it is tied to old towns, family names, historic pulpits, coastal parishes, rural sanctuaries, and communities where Scripture has shaped memory for generations. Pew-related reporting places South Carolina at 46% in the highly religious category, putting it among the strongest states in the United States for active religious life. The state's Christian identity is layered, not simple. Pew records that 77% of adults in South Carolina identify as Christian. Evangelical Protestants form the largest group at 39%, but they are not the whole story. Historically, Black Protestant churches account for 17%, while mainline Protestants stand at 13%. That mix gives South Carolina a deeper religious texture than a single Bible Belt label can explain. Baptist preaching, Black church tradition, Methodist and Episcopal history, and public Christian language all meet inside the same state. The Catholic presence is smaller, at about 7%, but South Carolina gives Catholic viewers something different from the previous states. Charleston holds one of the oldest Catholic stories in this region. The Diocese of Charleston was established in 1820, and St. Mary of the Annunciation was founded in 1789 as the first Catholic church in the Carolinas and Georgia. So while Protestant Christianity defines much of South Carolina's public religious culture, Catholic faith here carries an older coastal memory rooted in Charleston, parish endurance, immigrant history, and a sacramental life that has survived for more than 2 centuries. Number 7. Georgia. Georgia should not be treated as only another Bible Belt state. Its religious life has 2 strong currents moving at the same time. One runs through small towns, Baptist churches, family prayer, and old Southern worship traditions. The other runs through Metro Atlanta, where immigration, universities, new suburbs, and international communities have made the state's faith landscape far more diverse than many viewers expect. Pew-related reporting places Georgia at 38% in the highly religious category, keeping it among the most religious states in the United States. The Protestant presence is still the main foundation. Pew records 33% of adults in Georgia as evangelical Protestant, with the Baptist family alone accounting for 17%. Historically, Black Protestant churches form another major layer at 14%, while mainline Protestants stand at 10%. This matters because Georgia's religious identity is not only built by one church tradition, it is shaped by Baptist preaching, Black church history, gospel music, civil rights memory, and public Christian language that still carries weight across many communities. The Catholic angle in Georgia is different from South Carolina and Oklahoma. Catholics make up about 8% of adults statewide, but the story becomes much larger when Atlanta enters the picture. The Archdiocese of Atlanta serves nearly 1.2 million Catholics in North and Central Georgia, showing how Catholic life has grown inside a state long associated with Protestant culture. In Georgia, the Catholic presence is visible through large suburban parishes, Hispanic families, Korean and Vietnamese communities, Catholic schools, campus ministry, and the Cathedral of Christ the King in Atlanta. The state's faith map is still deeply Southern, but Catholic life here is no longer a small footnote. Number 6. Mississippi. Mississippi brings the Bible Belt into its most concentrated form. Here, religion is not only heard in sermons, it is woven into funerals, family gatherings, gospel music, small-town life, and the way many communities speak about suffering and endurance. Pew data places Mississippi at 50% in the highly religious category, one of the strongest results in the United States. The deeper numbers are even sharper. 61% say religion is very important in their lives. 54% attend religious services at least monthly. 62% pray daily, and 74% say they believe in God or a universal spirit with absolute certainty. The Christian foundation of Mississippi is overwhelmingly Protestant. Pew records that 77% of adults in the state identify as Christian. Evangelical Protestants make up 42%, while historically, Black Protestant churches account for 20%. That second number is essential because Mississippi's religious identity cannot be explained only through white evangelical culture. The Black church carries a major part of the state's spiritual memory, shaped by preaching, music, community leadership, and generations of faith tested by hardship. Catholics are a small minority at about 5%, but their presence stretches across the state through the Diocese of Jackson and the Diocese of Biloxi. In north, central, and southwest Mississippi, the Diocese of Jackson covers 65 counties, with parishes, missions, and Catholic schools serving communities spread across a large rural territory. Along the Gulf Coast, the Diocese of Biloxi serves the southern counties, where Catholic life has a different coastal texture. Mississippi is not a Catholic stronghold by population, but Catholic faith here has to be steady, local, and deeply sacramental inside one of the most intensely religious states in America. Number 5. West Virginia. West Virginia brings a different kind of religious story to this list. It is not a story of big cities, massive Catholic populations, or famous national shrines. It is an Appalachian story, shaped by mountains, coal towns, family cemeteries, small churches, and communities that have carried heavy burdens for decades. Job loss, economic decline, and the opioid crisis have left deep wounds across the state, and in many places, faith has become one of the few languages people still use to speak about pain, recovery, and hope. The state remains strongly Christian, but its religious profile is more complex than the older numbers often suggest. Pew Research Center records that 64% of adults in West Virginia identify as Christian. Evangelical Protestants form the largest group at 37%, while mainline Protestants stand at 21%. Catholics are much smaller, at about 3%, which means Catholic life here is not broad in population, but local, personal, and often tied to service. The Catholic angle in West Virginia is best seen through quiet presence rather than size. The church serves through parish life, Catholic schools, outreach to rural communities, and ministries that meet people close to their struggles. In a state where many towns have faced loss, isolation, and addiction, the Catholic witness is not built on public power. It is built through the Mass, confession, charity, funeral ministry, and the steady work of staying near families who have been tested by hardship. Number 4. Tennessee. Tennessee speaks its religion through sound. Before the numbers appear, you can hear it in gospel music, country hymns, bluegrass harmonies, church choirs, revival preaching, and small congregations where faith still gathers people week after week. From Nashville to Memphis, from rural valleys to the mountains of East Tennessee, worship has shaped more than private belief. It has shaped music, memory, family life, and the way many communities understand home. Pew Research Center places Tennessee at 44% in the highly religious category, well above the national level of 30%. The state's Christian culture is strongly evangelical Protestant, with 45% of adults identifying that way. The Baptist tradition alone accounts for 24%, including 15% Southern Baptist. That gives Tennessee one of the clearest Protestant identities on this list, but it is not a flat or silent identity. It moves through preaching, music, scripture, and the strong habit of gathering around a church. Catholics make up about 7% of adults in Tennessee, so the Catholic story here is smaller in numbers but still important. The Diocese of Nashville carries one of the older Catholic structures in the state, while the Diocese of Knoxville serves the eastern region, including communities near the Smoky Mountains and Chattanooga. In this setting, Catholic life has a different tone from the surrounding Protestant culture. It is heard in the rhythm of the Mass, confession, Catholic schools, campus ministry, Hispanic communities, and parishes that bring sacramental life into a state already filled with Christian language. Number 3. Arkansas. In Arkansas, religion often works like a support system before it looks like a headline. A church is where people bring food after a funeral, where children first learn scripture, where families ask for help, where recovery begins, and where small communities keep their sense of belonging. Pew data shows how strong that religious base remains. Evangelical Protestants alone make up 50% of adults in the state, with the Baptist family accounting for 23% and the Southern Baptist Convention at 14%. That kind of religious life is practical, local, and close to the ground. It does not need a major cathedral or a national stage to shape people's lives. In many parts of Arkansas, faith is carried through congregations that know each family by name, through worship that feels familiar, and through communities where prayer still belongs to ordinary conversation. The Catholic presence is much smaller, but its structure is surprisingly wide. The Diocese of Little Rock covers all 75 counties of Arkansas and serves 178,892 Catholics through 130 parishes and missions. It also operates 26 Catholic schools with more than 7,000 students. That gives Catholic life in Arkansas a very specific role, not dominance, but reach. Across a mostly Protestant state, the Church keeps the Mass, confession, Catholic education, and parish life present in towns and regions where Catholic communities may be small but still deeply committed. Number 2. Louisiana. Louisiana does not sound or look like the other states on this list. Here, religion is not only carried by sermons and Sunday routines, it is carved into cathedral towers, woven through parish names, sung through funeral processions, remembered in Cajun families, and painted into the streets of New Orleans. Pew records that 23% of adults in Louisiana are Catholic, making this the strongest Catholic presence among the states covered so far in this countdown. Evangelical Protestants still form the largest single group at 33%, while historically Black Protestant churches stand at 11%, giving Louisiana a layered Christian culture rather than a one-color Bible Belt identity. The Catholic story runs deep because Louisiana was shaped by French and Spanish Catholic roots long before much of the South became known mainly through Protestant language. The Archdiocese of New Orleans was erected in 1793, originally as the Diocese of Louisiana and the Floridas. St. Louis Cathedral stands on a site connected to Catholic worship in New Orleans since the early 18th century, with the city itself founded in 1718. This gives Louisiana a Catholic memory that is visible in stone, street, feast day, cemetery, and family tradition. That Catholic memory does not erase the state's Protestant strength. It lives beside it. A viewer can see Baptist churches, Black Protestant worship, Catholic parishes, Cajun devotions, school masses, and old cemeteries all inside the same religious landscape. In Louisiana, Catholic faith is not only a minority institution trying to survive, it is part of the state's cultural architecture, from New Orleans to Acadiana, from parish festivals to the names of saints that still mark the map. Number 1. Alabama. Alabama feels like a state where Sunday still has authority. Church is not treated only as a personal option for many families. It shapes calendars, childhood memories, community expectations, funeral customs, school connections, and the way people speak about duty, morality, hardship, and grace. Pew Research Center places Alabama at 40% in the highly religious category, with 51% saying religion is very important in their lives, 50% saying they pray daily, 44% attending religious services at least monthly, and 66% saying they believe in God or a universal spirit with absolute certainty. The state's Christian profile is strongly Protestant. Pew records that 73% of adults in Alabama identify as Christian, with evangelical Protestants forming the largest group at 43%. The Baptist tradition is especially powerful, with the Baptist family making up 24% and the Southern Baptist Convention alone at 17%. Historically, Black Protestant churches also form a major part of the state's religious life at 13%, carrying a legacy of preaching, music, community leadership, and endurance. Catholics make up about 6% of adults in Alabama, but the Catholic story has deep roots. The Archdiocese of Mobile traces its first parish to 1703 and serves southern Alabama with 76 parishes and 7 mission parishes. The Diocese of Birmingham serves the northern part of the state, with ministries that include Hispanic ministry, Black Catholic ministry, Catholic charities, schools, and parish life across a heavily Protestant region. Alabama may be known for its evangelical strength, but Catholic faith here remains present through older coastal memory, sacramental worship, Catholic education, and service to communities that still take religion seriously. Across these states, we have seen that religion in America is not a single story. In some places, faith speaks through Protestant preaching, gospel music, family prayer, and Sunday worship. In other places, Catholic life appears through old cathedrals, small parishes, immigrant communities, Catholic schools, confession lines, and the quiet strength of the Mass. Some states are deeply Catholic in culture. Others are mostly Protestant, yet still give Catholics a powerful reminder. Faith can remain alive even when it is not the loudest voice in the room. This journey through the top 10 most religious states in the United States shows us something important about the spiritual map of America. Belief is still shaping families, towns, schools, traditions, and communities across the country. For Catholics, it also raises a deeper question. How do we keep our faith visible, sacramental, and courageous in every kind of religious landscape? If this Catholic documentary helped you see America's faith story in a new way, leave a comment with the state that surprised you most and subscribe to the channel for more Catholic history, Catholic culture, and stories of faith across the world.